join in the one mind, and we are ready and receptive, resting in God, listening to Jesus's healing message of love and forgiveness expressed through Master Teacher. Thank you, Devavan.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for showing up here joining with the Master Teacher's teachings. Thank you for tuning in at any moment and any presentation, how it presents itself in the mind, because it is an ongoing discovery and rediscovery of that love and light and peace that already is in our mind and has revealed itself to us. And so the Master Teacher will offer us this remembrance today with a video sequence that has been done pretty much at this time, end of May 2006, and it was dedicated to a conference in California, in LA, about a presentation of a documentary, What the Bleep. And so his being present with that, and we followed that invitation and went there and met all of our brothers and producers of this new documentary, What the Bleep. And he dedicated a video to that, and will, in that second part that we are sharing today, go into very early lessons of the workbook. He will use the review lessons of the lessons 22 to 30, and he will use a publication that came from the Endeavor Academy. I'm holding it up here. It is a booklet that had got the name, the a 20 minutes booklet, I'm Sustained by the Love of God, the review of the first 50 lessons. And the video became part of a series that were in which 7 episodes were made, and was under the idea of the stem cell healing activation. And we were just looking at stem cells in our last 2 episodes, and this is now a different approach, because he is actually bringing it very much to that point that we have to admit that the framework will contain all the value of the universe. The framework of your mind, of my mind, contains also all the value of the universe. It's not something that we wouldn't use, but it is here to be used. And the light is in everything, so to speak. And it is all contained in our own mind, in your mind, in my mind. And since we are sharing one mind, your mind is the one mind that exists. And then the title, as the video was given, this is our recipe for the universe, What the Bleep, down the rabbit hole, gives that clear indication that we are actually freed up from all the fear, from all the reactions that the ego human mind was so occupied throughout beginning of time, in order to avoid the inevitable, to avoid the complete transformation, to avoid the complete undoing of the self-concept, because that is what happens when we go down the rabbit hole. Because coming out on the other side, and even coming out before we went in, the quantum idea is really what we are presenting, and as an experience, as a giving and sharing that one mind, which is Christ mind. So another idea that came into my mind was that the attempt trying to solve the problem that every human being is educated to, and most of the time in time space is probably dedicated to that purpose of solving problems. And he brings up that part where we have to look at how could a problem continue to exist or to present itself. And so he says trying to solve the problem, and the problem is continuous, is actually impossible. And this is really where we wake up to our own responsibility in the mind training and can clearly see that once the power of Christ's mind, of the one mind, is applied, even if there's a residue of reflections in our mind, the problem does not continue. There is one problem and one solution. And as we know from the lessons 79 and 80, and first we admit to the problem, but then we come through the experience to recognize that the problem already has been solved and that the solution was not within our conceptual human mind, but was really the solution from our whole mind and came from out of time. And that is a completely new framework in our mind that we now want to utilize in our coming together, in our sharing, in our relationships, in anything that still presents itself as a seeming problem. And so I'm not gonna go into further details, but we'll just want to present the video, which I couldn't really take anything much out. So it is around 25 minutes. It's a whole second part. And yeah, just relax and enjoy it and feel the energy and experience the healing of your mind, of all aspects that are considered as a problem in the mind, because that healing is guaranteed. It is certain. Here we go.
These are the great questions. Who am I? What am I? Why am I here? Asking yourself these deeper questions opens up new ways of being in the world. It brings in a breath of fresh air. It makes life more joyful. The real trick to life is not to be in the know, but to be in the mystery of the know, in the idea that you don't know actually who you are at all. And I'm back with you because I'm enjoying the idea that since you've come into the framework of the idea of the mystery of you, you have actually not known who you are or what you're doing or why you're here. And contained within the idea of the elements that we are representing separate from each other is finally going to be the simple admission that we all are using the same mind. That the mindfulness of me, the reflection of what I want to see, will tell me about myself with the simple recognition that the apparent reflection of light that I am receiving from you within the idea of the galaxy, in the notations of the specialization of myself in a quantum reality, I can meet you somewhere, and I'm going to be using the idea here. I'm going to be using this little book. Because each time I formulate a solution within my own mind, all right, it will be different than what appears to be your solution. So I'm going to require a comparison of the cause and the effect of me and what I want to see in the division of myself. Now, here's 6 minutes in the idea of cause and effect that can excite you in the prospect that what you're actually seeing out there is in your mind. And as each moment you recognize the increasing frequencies of the power of light to decide there's another outcome that you want, the sequence that you previously used is always going to be over within the idea that you're always coming back to this spot, coming back to this spot. Now, because of the nature of the shortage of time that's involved, and I'm going to be leaving here along with the idea of this motion picture that you're seeing, I'm going to teach just for a moment. What actually happens is that it's only going to be contained within you. I am responsible for what I see. I am choosing the outcome that I want. The world that I see about me is a sequence of a dream episode that I continue to awaken to another reality that appears to continue to bind me in a circular attempt to identify myself in moments of, let's use the idea of death, in the idea of death or totality of darkness, followed by the idea of light. All I'm really saying to you is that in the defense of yourself, and I'm going to continue with this for a moment, I may use a particular word for you. Shall I use some words that you don't like to use within your belief? Say to me, revenge. Revenge. Well, of course. If you have ideas about yourself, you're reaching conclusion. Now, your revenge can be one of joy and happiness or one of pain or death. But it's the idea that there's a possibility that the organization of the concept of yourself can cause you within a notation of what was previously a joyous happening to become an enemy within your mind. I'm teaching from my own momentarily conception that the enemy, the revenge that I came into here to find in my entirety, which are why I'm here, are actually the energy that is converted by not continue to examine a distance that would represent what could come between you and I. Because nothing can come between my decision, and I see you're reflecting that light, to use the light as part of the screen work here, to let me emerge and blend in with the conflict that I was entitled to hold on to, with a simple admission that the framework, the story that I'm telling you in the idea that I am a science of my mind determined to see, will contain all of the value that there is in the universe. Because all of the value of the universe is contained in your mind, in my mind, in my mind. Now, when we came together and you brought your little book with you, we set up frameworks in which you're suddenly beginning to recognize that the guy who's out there is actually in your mind. He is in the same recognition of himself. Remember this, there's only going to be one mind, and that one mind is going to be mine. And I'm not going to try to see how I failed in the mission of myself, but rather admit that the mistake, and this is all it could possibly be if I'm located in space-time, has been corrected. Listen with me. What I see is a form of vengeance. The world I see is hardly the representation of loving thoughts. It's a picture of attack on everything by everything. It is anything but a reflection of the love of God and the love of His Son. It is my own attacked thoughts that give rise to this picture. My loving thoughts will save me from this perception of the world and give me the peace of God. Now, the manner in which, and I'm back for 1 minute, that I have to do it, are to give up thoughts that I'm holding about you. Now, say to me, forgive. Forgive. No matter how much I'm determined to believe that I can solve this problem and that you're going to continue to have the problem, that's not possible. The idea, the motion picture that you're seeing, are the resolution by the determination that it's necessary for you individually to look at the totality of a moment of darkness within your own mind so that you can represent another thought in your mind. Are you listening? It's actually not connected to the reflection you're getting of your body formulation at all. Listen with me. Thank you for that light. That's a thought I had about you. Now, what happened? Over here, there was another bright thought that suddenly occurred. When I came and looked at it, I was in my own identity of thought. And at that point, it was reduced, and this is the motion picture, to the idea that we're all sharing resolution of problem. Now, the responsibility for the increase in the frequency of the power of the definition that light, the factor of the power of the energy of light, in a manifestation of the intensity of the vibratory ideas of light that I'm using, are what I'm teaching. Actually, what's occurring is, rather than going through another death sequence in which I have to continue, I'm simply allowing myself to descend momentarily, okay, and emerge further along by acknowledging that while I've been afraid of the solution, by inviting the solution to come into my thinking mechanism using this little booklet, I am able to see that the power of decision in the continuation of reflection of light will get brighter and brighter as I resolve the problem that the continuity of time, while it expanded forever in the ideas, also contracted simultaneously forever, and that there is no distance between the idea of locating myself in space and time and the certainty that I'm already located everywhere. Listen with me. Listen. I'm going to give up my attack thoughts. Herein lies salvation and nowhere else. Without attack thoughts, I could not see a world of attack. As forgiveness allows love to return to my awareness, I will see a world of peace and of safety and of joy. And it is this I choose to see in place of what I look on now. And here's just, I'm going to get back into the idea of the reasonableness of the logistics of this. What I want you to see with me, the power I'm using to defend myself from you is the same power by which I attack you. That I'm meeting you within the totality of the resolution of the problem. And that I need now to look at my mind in regard to the reflection of light I'm getting, to determine why within the gravity of association of light, I appear to be trapped in here. Let's look together at the possibility that the book that one of you wrote here has to do with these next 3 lessons. It was you that wrote that story with you, Dr. What's your name? Dr. What's your name is a good name for you, because it's the idea of these next 3 lessons. Listen. I don't perceive my own best interest. Ha! How could I recognize my own best interest when I do not know who I am? What I think are my best interests would merely bind me closer to the world of illusion. I'm willing to follow the guide God has given me to find out what my actual best interests in regard to the results that I want are, recognizing that I cannot perceive them by myself, very simply because, as I just reminded you in the movie sequence, I really don't know what anything is for. To me, the purpose of everything is to prove that my illusion about myself are real. It is for this purpose that I attempt to use everyone and everything that I'm seeing. It is for this that I believe the world is for. Therefore, I do not recognize what is its real purpose. The purpose I have given the world has led to a frightening picture of it. Let me open my mind to the world's real purpose by withdrawing the ones that I have previously given it and learning the truth about myself, because as you said in your book, my attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. That is, God, the totality of reality, is not vulnerable to anything except his continually giving of himself. How can I know who I am when I see myself as under constant attack? Pain, illness, loss, age, death seem to threaten me. All my hopes and wishes and plans appear to be at the mercy of a world I cannot control. Yet perfect security and complete fulfillment are my inheritance. I have tried to give my inheritance away in exchange for a world where I could find some security in the light reflection of myself. But God has kept my inheritance safe for me, because my own real thoughts will teach me what it is. And this is the entirety of my teaching. The entirety of my teaching is that in the reflection of the idea of conceptual self, I have chosen conceptually what I want to be true about the reflection of myself. I am determined now within this book, in the formulation, that there's another world that I can see, that there's another world out there. Query, were you successful at the continuation of a new energy of idea in which you and I recognized each other? How would it not be true if I'm a memory within my own mind of you? Okay, can you hear the song that's playing, I Remember You? Of course, I remember you. I remember you as the one who offered me both the problem, which you would have to do in the mystery of who I am, and the momentary solution, which I immediately forgot, all right, had another experience of dark form, and ended up exactly where I had started. Now, this time, using the power of the mechanism of the requirement for this course, I'm going to let the conversion be completed. I'm going to let that conversion be completed, because not only, this is the expression of the passion I'm feeling in the idea of the love that we're sharing as we escape the freedom that we were bound by ideas of dark energy and hate, and the necessity to forgive, which gets simpler and simpler, because the destiny in which I identify myself is a heritage. And I'm not avoiding the idea of DNA. I'm not avoiding the identity that the entirety of the possibility within my mind, of the instant conversion of what I am seeing in reflection of myself, will allow me to instantly appear anywhere out in the universe. That was very nice. Did somebody just show up here with a memory of me? Did somebody say to me, wow, am I glad you're here? Did somebody just say to me, what are you doing here? Did somebody just say to me, the resolution of the mystery of my problem has now been presented to me individually, because the energy of the solution is not compacted by anything that I see? Listen. Thank you. You know the enjoyment that you're getting right now? Huh? Say to me, I'm being myself.
I'm being myself.
Sure. You're taking a whole moment and not examine the justification for the judgmental process that you've been using to determine a cause and effect relationship. You're simply letting yourself collapse into the idea that you're about to expand out into the universe. Listen. Above all else, I want to see. Recognizing that what I see reflects what I think I am, I realize that vision is my greatest need. The world I see attests to the fearful nature of the self-image I have made. If I would remember who I am, it is essential that I let this image of myself go. As it is replaced by truth, vision will surely be given me. And with this vision, I will look upon the world and on myself with charity and the love that I'm feeling for you right now. Because above all else, I've decided I've had enough of this within the reflection of myself. And I'm back with you because I'm about to emerge with you in the idea of a solution that up until this moment, I couldn't remember that I had forgotten. Now, suddenly, I remember it. Here's the difficulty. When I remember it, as many of you are now in this motion picture, it changes the whole idea of the perspective of how I reasonably saw you within the idea of a separate formulation of the idea of a storyline about yourself, so that I can practice in this course in training my mind systematically that I can escape out into the universe. Listen with me. Above everything, I've had enough of this. I keep examining it. I keep finding solution. They work for a while. I'm in love. I get old. I get sick. I die. I've had enough. Above all else, I want to see differently. The world I see holds my fearful self-image in place and guarantees its continuance. While I see the world as I see it now, truth cannot enter my awareness. I would let the door behind this world be open for me that I may look past it to the world that reflects the love of God. 2 more lessons here now about God. Listen with me. God, the idea of the singularity of reality, is in everything that I see. Behind every image I have made, the truth remains unchanged. Behind every veil I have drawn across the face of love, its light remains undimmed. Beyond all my insane wishes is my will, united with the will of my Father. God is still everywhere and in everything forever. And we who are part of Him will yet look past all appearances and recognize the truth beyond them all. And this will be the last lesson, number 30. Listen, God is in everything I see because God is in my mind. In my own mind, behind all my insane thoughts of separation and attack, is the knowledge that all is one forever. I have not lost the knowledge of who I am because I've forgotten it. It has been kept for me in the mind of God, who has not left His thoughts behind. And I, who am among them, am one with them and one with Him. Now, I'm out of time again. I want to just be with you in the little time that's left here. All I'm doing in reminding you in this lovely motion picture that we're seeing together is that all of this has not actually happened. All it really says is what the end of this little tale of our book is going to say about ourselves. Here, we can just in 1 minute, we can read what it is. Listen. How simple is the great way to salvation. All it says is that the world you see has nothing to do with reality. It is of your own making and does not exist. All it says is what was never true is not true now and never will be. The impossible has not occurred and can have no effect, and that's all. Can this be hard to learn by anyone who wants it to be true? You need simply let yourself be as you truly are, and have always been. In the idea that the time that's involved in the cycle of the new bright light can seem to have taken a very long time, but that you must remember that the memory that you brought with you included the future reference that you were intending to identify yourself from your past experience. As you've become less and less fearful of the result of your own mind, you have offered invitations of ideas of solution within your mind. In the love that I'm feeling for you, by the simple logistics that my mind no longer wants to be trapped in the circumstance of a dream sequence, and that there you are. Thank you for that. Yes, there you are. There we are. We're beginning to recognize each other. The problem we have is that when we recognize each other, we have a tendency to hold on to it within the framework of the dark light. Why not simply let it go? Instead, you hold on to it and you wonder why you have another death episode within your mind in the protection of yourself. When you woke up this morning and you came in with this little book and you began to describe to me the joy that you're feeling, we entered into a brand new frame of reference, a new frame of a continuum of time that keeps changing because I'm letting it change. And as I changed my mind about you, you changed your mind about yourself, because my mind is your mind. This is what this video tries to teach. There's only going to be one of us within the sequence of waking up from the dream, no matter what we do. Now, what you did was enter momentarily into a sequence that we're about to dream out together. Were we successful? Sure. Do you love me? Yeah. Do you love the idea of the freedom that you're feeling in regard to the idea that the scientific approach has proven to you that you've come to that moment where you're allowing that fearful moment to be transcended by the light that I'm feeling for you and the love that I'm feeling for you and the love that I'm feeling for you and the love that we're feeling for each other. Those eyes. Can you explain that to the world? No, don't try. Enjoy the fruits of the idea of the power of love that's inherent.
Thank you. That was nice. Well, as we could hear at the very end of his demonstration, that it's not really needed to prove or demonstrate anything to the world. It is really for our own self-realization and literally being in the trust and living in the trust that if I change my mind and allow that conversion to occur in myself, it is one mind and it does occur everywhere, even if it doesn't look like. So with that, let's open up the microphones and let's share if there's anything to share about. Thank you.
I'm going to end it with a beautiful song about the inestimable joy that we receive when we really do accept what he's saying here, and how the only problem we have is one of identity, not accepting that. And we move into our true identity through the stillness and recognizing that innocent looks upon innocence and love looks upon itself. And there's that joy. There's the joy. So it comes on our acceptance and the willingness to devote the time to applying the lessons and surrendering that personal sense of self into the light of truth of our being. And it really can be done. And that's the promise there. And just so beautiful and wonderful. Thanks. This was wonderful.
Yeah, nicely put, Lauren. Thank you so much. I want to read these last words again that he shared. How simple is the great way to salvation. All it says is that the word I see, I'm reading it for myself, that the word I see has nothing to do with reality. It is of my own making and doesn't exist. We all know that from lesson 14. All it says is what was never true is not true now and never will be. The impossible has not occurred and can have no effects. And that is all. Can this be hard to learn by anyone who wants it to be true? You need simply let yourself be as you truly are and have always been. I need simply let myself be as I truly am and have always been. And that's it.
That sums it up. Nothing real can be threatened and nothing unreal exists.
Yeah, and he
Forgive us
mentioned
for
it
illusions.
in between. He said, what you see outside, you find then finally within.
We could stop with that one sentence. Forgive us our illusions, Father, and help us to accept our true relationship with you. And once we move into that Christ identity, the awareness of the omnipresent I am, that's all there really is, the one mind, and everything out there is a figment of our imagination, just there to show us our own thoughts so we can bring it back into the light of truth and move into Christ identity. Thanks so much.
Yeah, amen. Would you like to share anything, Christiane? Everything good, yeah? Smiling face is more than enough.
She always brings her beautiful light that we can certainly feel. So thank you.
Yes,
Beautiful.
you're showing up really. All your support. Let's just be a moment in quietness before we go out here. Sharing our still mind, the peace of God. Thank you. I have a song to get out of here. Thank you, everyone. Let's just give us our blessings right now. I will put the link into the description of the video. Have a most wonderful day. Thank you. Love you.
Thank you.